Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers should exercise caution when watching this program, as it may contain images of deceased persons.
Welcome to the final episode of this season of Noongar Dandenong.
Goes so fast, doesn't it, Kimber?
True, it does, Neil. But we've got our final episode packed with Noongar stories that you don't want to miss out on.
Join us in meeting young boxer Nathaniel May, as well as the inspirational Justina Smith.
Then we'll learn about the Willaman Noongar Language and Stories project and finish up with a deadly performance by the Struggling Kings.
It's hard to ignore the incredible impact Indigenous football players have, and the Bulldogs Noongar team are certainly a force to be reckoned with.
But it's more than just about winning. Football brings people and communities together, and the Bulldogs take community and family involvement to a whole new level.
We'll also hear from a Noongar AFL star that made it all the way to the grand final last year. Greta Jaziak reports.
Playing football is just one reason these young men come together. For the Bulldogs Noongar side, team is family. But for Buddy Pickett, it takes on a much more literal meaning.
It's pretty much been in my family since I was a kid, since I can remember. My father and his father before me, so they started it. So pretty much I wouldn't play for any other team. So it means a lot to me, yeah.
Buddy's grandfather, Alistair Pickett, coached the Bulldogs from its inception and is still heavily involved in the team to this day.
My relationship with the Bulldog is, when I first started off, it's family. It's more or less, to me, it was a family-orientated football team. And it started off with, most of them were my nephews, my three sons, and I think the rest of them were all like, I'm more or less like a father figure to a lot of them.
Without a club ground or an oval, this grassroots team relies on its massive support network and unbreakable bond for success.
One of the things that we look for in the team is that you've got a group of people that, come together to play footy, but it's actually more than that. It's really around establishing friendships, but also if you look at what footy is, and if you look at our culture, we're very, very competitive.
Coach Martin Smith believes the strong culture and sense of family is the reason why the Bulldogs have been such a popular team.
We were throwing it around as a coaching group, and we asked ourselves the question: why is it they want to come to us? And some of the guys are saying, yes, we've been fairly successful over the years, but also too, I think we've developed a fairly solid culture around how we play football.
The boys come together once a year to play as the Bulldogs in Indigenous carnivals, and when they do, the results are magic. In 2015, the Bulldogs proved to be unbeatable, winning the Bunbury Guaba Cup for yet another year.
The Bulldogs mean pretty much everything to me since I was a kid, so it's just meaning more and more every year.
Like others in the team, Buddy aspired to reach AFL level, but it's not an easy road.
When you look at the number of young Noongar men coming through the Colt system, as opposed to what stay in the system, there's a big difference. The waffle and the AFL, they really need to look at that.
I've used footy as sort of a tool since I was a kid to keep my mind focused on, setting goals for myself and sort of aspiring to be better than what I am, and I think that's definitely helped me. You get looked at as a role model, and you want to sort of be a person to sort of set standards for kids growing up and making paths for them as well.
Hopefully kids can, look up to us, and hopefully if they want to be an AFL football player one day, and can reach that goal.
Growing up, I wasn't the most perfect kid, and I got up to a bit of mischief myself, and I suppose footy's the sort of way out.
Obviously, if you got a goal, you set it, and nothing can stop you from doing it if you put your mind and everything to it, and you make the right decisions on and off the field. And I just say put your studies and education first, because football is going to be there, but you can't always make that your number one priority.
Now we're joined by Curtin University Senior Research Fellow Sean Gorman, who has a special interest in Indigenous Australian studies, and former AFL player Dale Kickett. Welcome. One of the questions I suppose that a lot of people ask, and it's been asked and chucked around family, is that there's a lot of Indigenous people that play AFL. but a majority of them are Noongars. Would you know why that is, and what's the stat?
Well, the stat on terms of it, Neil, is actually it's significant. It's around about 22%, and ever since the figures have been taken in the AFL from about 1904 up until the current day. 1897 up until the current day. It runs at around about 22%. So even today, you've got 9% of Aboriginal people that make up all team lists. That is still for Noongar men make up around about 22-23% of the competition's playing list, which is massive. And you've only got to run through the names. You know, Bennell, you know, Jeddah, Franklin, just a few. But it's a huge amount of people, given it's from one particular part of WA.
Why do you think, Dale, that there are a lot of Noongars that are playing AFL that get up there?
Well, just recently we've had a few carnivals. Might have mentioned earlier, say the Bunbury Carnival, or the Stephen Michael, or Nicky Winmar Cup, or the Marley. You've only got to go and watch the fierceness of the competition between us ourselves to understand why there are so many people going into the AFL.
Sean, what can you share about the history of the Indigenous players in the AFL?
The history goes back a little bit further than some people think. Some people thought it was with Joe Johnson in 1904, playing with Fitzroy. He played 55 games as a defender and was in one of their premiership sides. But it actually goes back further to a fellow by the name of Albert Pompey Austin, who came up from the Framlingham Mission in 1872 to play for Geelong. He played one game. But in 1982, you start to see a change with the VFL, which is now the AFL, and that comes about through three players. Maurice Rioli, who is recruited from South Fremantle to go and play with Richmond, wins the Norm Smith Medal and just had a fantastic season with Richmond, and also the Cracker brothers, Jimmy and Phil, who played with Claremont and then went over to play with North Melbourne. And the reasons why those players in particular are very important is because it's the first time that the VFL see a serious concentration of really, really good quality footballers.
Dale, what were some of the issues that you had in your playing day?
Even though I was around 20 when I first got drafted, I don't think I was mature enough to, as a footballer, and as a person, most young Aboriginal blokes think that they're men when they turn 13, 14. But as a footballer, I'd just come out of Tamman. We trained, if we trained, once or twice a week. I would have been hunting kangaroos, jugging, doing all that sort of stuff. So a lot of the issues and problems, I suppose, come out of people not understanding where we'd come from.
Thank you for joining us. Your insight has been really great. Enjoyed the conversation with both of you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Neil. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Now let's go to an inspiring story on Nathaniel May, a young boxer who is feared when in the ring but admired by the community. Nathaniel's achievements make him a deadly role model for Noongars everywhere.
I'm Nathaniel May from Bunbury, Western Australia, and I'm at Noongar. Boxing in Bunbury it's always been an AFL really little town, but it's gotten a lot bigger. People they notice me now, so it's really great. And the kids, they look up to me. Now and then when we go to shops, they always want a photo, so that's kind of a good thing. Yeah, no, training gets pretty hard, difficult sometimes. I train every day of the week, 3 times a day, so it gets pretty hectic now and then. In my weight, like a featherweight, really,
Gotta have a fast hands, fast feet, a cool head now and then. So yeah, it's probably that'd be it. Yeah. Coming from an amateur, we went to pro, so we kind of put it as a pro/amateur kind of fight. So I kind of fight a bit like Manny Pacquiao, just a different sort. I kind of love the way he fights and the way he trains and everything, and he's a good guy to look up to. I won the WBO about a year ago, the first one I've ever won, an Asian Pacific title, youth. And at the time, yeah, it was just, didn't think we would get it. It's just a big thing, really. You can't really tell the feelings that you got from it. Yeah, I get to keep this one and my other one. This is a super feather one, and I've got a featherweight one too. So I'm lucky to really have two. Got the right backings behind me, great coach, great promoter, great manager. So yeah, at the moment we're top 15 in the world in the WBO and WBA. So by end of like 2 or 3 years, we'll try to have a world title by then. So it's pretty big for me. It's great. Like some of the younger kids, when they see you, they always want to be like you. So that's really a big thing for me. And it just shows, like, even though we do things in sport, you can have a different way of going at things. Keep your mind to it and you can get whatever you want.
The name Justina Smith is set to go down in Australian history. She was awarded a scholarship in America for dance at the age of 21. With her passion for life and her wonderful, humble spirit, Justina's determination to achieve this mission is inspiring.
Okay, so my official title, Aboriginal Islander Education Officer right now, AIEO. I'm a director and a composer of musical theatre. I'm a mother, I'm a nurse and a taxi driver and a financial accountant as a single mother. So I want to be a part of the process in closing the gap and reconciliation for young Australians. So my mother is a Nyungar Yoga from Kanyang Williman country, and my father's African American from San Diego, California. My mum was stolen, so my mum had a lot of identity issues, cultural issues, because of being taken away from her mother. But my family's a big family. We all stuck together and held each other tight. The most memorable experience of my childhood would have to be actually growing up in Langford. I love my old days with my cousins, my brothers. We'd go to the river and we'd get yabbies. Because I was the only child, so I ran with the boys. Achieving Miss NAIDOC, I just wanted that title so bad. I started dancing at the age of 16, just on the streets in Perth. I got scouted by someone from Whopper and said I had really good balance and core centre. I didn't know what none of that meant. There was a Black Swan Theatre here. There was a dance company happening run by Michael Leslie, my mentor, so I'd go there all the time, watch people dance, and I was like, wow, I want to be a part of that. And then I went to Brisbane, Aboriginal Centre of Performing Arts. I got advanced diploma in musical theatre, major dance, and then from there I got a scholarship, so I was 21 when I went to America.
It's been really wonderful getting to know Justina because she's got such a bubbly personality and she just brings magic everywhere that she goes. We actually wrote a play together about Close the Gap and had the students perform it. And it was absolutely beautiful. We had so many parents come and they were so proud to see that their culture was being sort of shared with everybody.
I don't know, every time I feel like I can't do something, she's always there to cheer me up. And she's my auntie and I love her with all my heart.
My greatest achievement was in 2003 when I got a grant to tell one of my elders' story, Mamu, whale. That story was given to me by Auntie Edith Boundary from York. I got a grant for $80,000 and my first production I ever put on was at Perth Concert Hall and I was 23 years old. I fight for the youth, Aboriginal youth. I fight for Aboriginal mothers and fathers. I fight for my elders and I fight for Australia.
regarded now as a threatened language, there are only a handful of Noongar speakers today. But through the help of various members of the Indigenous community, such as Kim Scott, the almost forgotten language is coming back. With the publication of children's picture books written in Noongar, the Willaman Noongar Language and Stories project aims to preserve Noongar culture and language.
I think part of its start was I did a book with Noongar elder Hazel Brown, 2005. And in doing that I realised there was quite a lot of language material she was offering to share, which didn't really fit in a book because not that many people can read it. And then we found archival material from about 80 years ago that her uncle and other elders, genealogical elders, had left with a linguist. And so she helped a few of us get together other descendants of those informants. Then we started working out how we're going to breathe life back into these parchments and use ourselves as instruments to bring this language back to life.
Being part of this our Willaman Storytelling and Language project is reviving not only the language, it's also the ancient stories. And if you go down to our part of the southwest, you could see where the stories came from, like the land features. You know, with Duet Palkat, Aning had a lot to do with the illustrations. No one else does our illustrations for our books. It's our elders because they're amazing artists.
These pictures just come to me from Mum Mind and sceneries around Bremer Bay. I just draw where my father was going. It's like he was telling me I was in that picture with him. And he came to me with this company, Willaman, and it was just like, here, my girl, it's up to you now to talk.
We have a lot of workshops. There's a series of workshops that start, so we draw upon archival material to which members of our group are connected genealogically, and we draw upon material that elders have supplied us. And then at a later stage we make up 50 or 100 copies of those books before publication, and we hand them out to members of the Albany Noongar community. And then we often do a school tour or presentations at community or education contexts. And then we also film elders in our group going back to country and sharing, we document their memories, and also connecting some of those stories when they're creation stories to the landscape.
We've got something very special. Very, very special. Like,
and it's our time to pass it to our next littlies.
And that concludes Season 6 of Noongar Danju. Thank you for joining us on our journey throughout Noongar country.
And we hope to see you next year for even more fun.
Neil, it's always fun when you're around.
Thanks, Kimbo.
For more information about Noongar Danju, visit our website at noongardanju.com.
Now please join us on the Emu Deck for a band ironically named after the struggle to find a name.
Please welcome the Struggling Kings.
Show promise to be there when you're down. A promise is enough. Shines bright in the night. You pick me up to walk on my feet. You said to fight for what's right. So I'll keep my promise to you that I made. I promise to I promise to laugh, I promise to give you all that I am. I promise to dance, I promise to cry, I promise to be there when you're down. A promise is enough. A promise is now. Is now, so I'll keep my promise to you that I made. I promise to love, I promise to laugh, I promise to give you all that I am. I promise to dance, I promise to cry and be there when you're down. Promise is enough.